Why was Oscar Pistorius released from prison a day earlier than expected? What prompted the Kgosi Mampuru Abubedi officials to release him prematurely? And was the Correctional Services Department informed about the change? And what is Reeva Steenkamp Foundation's position on the release of Oscar Pistorius? What time is it? It is question time. Welcome to Question Time. My name is Mampuru. Oscar Pistorius has been released from Pretoria's Kgosi Mampuru Abubedi prison under correctional supervision. Pistorius was sentenced to a maximum of 5 years in jail by Judge Thokozile Masipa on October 1 last year for the murder of Reeva Steenkamp. While his release was expected to take place today, Pistorius was surprisingly released at around 7:30 last night. His parole conditions are quite stringent, and amongst others, he is barred from owning a gun, and he must also meet Reeva's parents if and when they agree to do so. Meanwhile, in just 15 days after his release, the state is expected to start its appeal to have his culpable homicide conviction overturned. The appeal case is set for November 3rd at the Supreme Court of Appeals in Bloemfontein. A reminder that this is a live program, and therefore you can call us. The numbers to dial 089-110-4210. Our Twitter handle remains at QuestionTime24. My guest today, Manelisi Wolela, is the spokesperson of the Department of Correctional Services, is joining us from our Pretoria studios. And in our PE studios, we are joined by Craig DeLong, who is a trustee of the Reeva Steenkamp Foundation. Gentlemen, welcome to Question Time.
Thank you, Mpo.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting us.
Manelisi, let me just start with you. People are asking questions. Why was he released the day before? Were you trying to avoid us? And by us, I mean the media.
We issued a statement after being informed by the local management of Correctional Center, the Kgosi Mampuru, that after 7:30, between 7:30 and 8 yesterday, last night, they placed Oscar Pistorius under correctional supervision. And flowing from that, we also notified yourselves with an SMS and that this is the decision that was taken. The principle which we have outlined there is that the parole board has made a decision, and then the local management is responsible for operationalizing that decision. Okay. And in operationalizing that decision, they are at the coal face, and they are responsible for making decisions that are appropriate, looking at the circumstances they are managing at a particular time. Okay. So in this instance, they have made that decision, and they have placed him under correctional supervision at night, few hours, just about 4 hours before 12 o'clock, which is the 20th of October.
Okay. Well, I guess it's neither here nor there. I mean, the man is home after all. But and I'm sure you've been answering this question. But perhaps for once again, for the record, what are the conditions? Because this is not an abnormal occurrence. I mean, it's something that you do, daily, if not daily, but as regularly as needs be, to release people under correctional supervision.
Absolutely, you're correct in that regard. As correctional services, the caseload of 53 parole boards we have in the country is about 45,000 cases or submissions that are made to them. And out of that, you might find that in a given year, we've got about roughly 24,000. It varies depending on the overall caseload. That people that are actually placed on parole or under correctional supervision in a given year. If you translate that to what happens on a daily basis, you might probably have up to about 60 offenders that are placed either on parole or correctional supervision on a daily basis, which means you're correct. The magnitude of what we do and the manner in which we do actually, unfortunately, is not in the full glare of the public dialogue. But unfortunately, because there are certain offenders which are perceived in this particular way. You end up taking everything that normally happens on a daily basis and in normal circumstances into the full glare of the public dialogue and scrutiny, like this particular case.
And actually,
okay, when it comes to parole conditions, I think let me respond to that.
Yes.
As a principle, the department does not publish the parole conditions for individual offenders. The only thing that we do, we give an overall framework that parole or probation conditions that are given to offenders, they include being confined to a particular area, they include being expected not to get involved in crime, not to abuse alcohol or other drugs, not being allowed to move out of a particular magisterial district or even two. They have to ensure that during that period they serve a minimum of the hours prescribed for community service. But in addition to that, let me mention, in respect of Oscar Pistorius himself, that there are two that were prescribed by the Parole Review Board relating to the continuation of the psychotherapy treatment to deal with the criminogenic factors of crime he committed. And then the second one is the implementation of Section 103 of the Firearms Control Act of South Africa, which has got to be implemented in this instance.
All right, Craig, let me bring you in here. What is the Foundation's reaction to Oscar's release?
I think when we talk about the Foundation's reaction, we talk about June and Barry's reaction as such. June being the founder of the Foundation, the release as such doesn't concern them to the extent that Oscar is now released and under correctional supervision. They want to get on with their lives. The Foundation wants to start operating. The Foundation has been established to assist abused women and children, and for them it's just to get going and move on with the Foundation and to try and assist women and children in need. That's all. So from their perspective, the release, if he was in jail or whether he sits at his uncle's home, it's irrelevant to them at this stage. They're getting on with their lives. Nothing for them now will bring Reeva back.
Okay.
And it's for them to carry on with the legacy of Reeva through the Foundation.
Would you welcome any form of assistance from Oscar?
It's a good question.
I need a good answer as well.
I think with the establishment of the Foundation as a trust, the trustees are appointed to manage the Foundation. I think that is a decision that the trustees would have to make. If an approach was made, I think the trustees would have to consider it. They wouldn't want to. I couldn't comment for all the trustees. So it is a difficult question, but it would be taken under consideration and then a decision made.
Well, one of the recommendations is that Oscar must meet Reeva's parents. Are they willing to meet him?
At this stage, they don't see the necessity, but for them it's getting the Foundation going. If they feel in time and it's appropriate, they will meet with him. But not today. So
are you saying if the man says I'm willing to meet as per recommendations from the appeals board, they are going to turn him down as we speak? Today, they're not ready to meet with Oscar today. In a while's time, it's part of the healing process that they could possibly, if it's appropriate, they will meet with him. Okay. Hold it there. Manilisi Walela, I want us to take a quick break. When we return, I want us to talk about this other 109 offenders whose matters were put on ice as a result of Oscar Pistorius' matter, but have, however, not had anything from your department, but only after the break. And we'll be taking your questions and calls. 0891104210 is the number to dial. This is question time.
SABC brings to you Rugby World Cup 2015.
Let's do this.
The road to greatness is not an easy one. It's rough, tough, and full of barriers. And there's only one way to master it. Never, ever stop. Dauntless. The all-new Audi Q7.
Hey people, we are getting there, and thanks to you, party is set to become our country's 12th official language. Here's today's word. Substitute. Replacing a drinking buddy with somebody more fun. That's more like it.
Get a bottle of Clip Drip plus 2 1-liter Cokes for only $1.19.99 and help make party South Africa's 12th official language. Tops at Spar. Shake things up.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest, Manelisi Walela, spokesperson of the Department of Correctional Services, is joining us from our Pretoria studios. And in our Port Elizabeth studios, we're joined by Craig DeLong, who is a trustee at the Reeva Steenkamp Foundation. And Manelisi, like I was saying, there seemed to be a perception out there, I don't know whether it's fiction or fact, that Oscar got fairly good treatment from the department. I mean, there are 109 offenders whose parole releases were frozen, despite having been approved earlier this year, but they haven't had anything.
All right. Do you know what happens is that there's a perception which has been there about preferential treatment as far back as when the case was actually handled by the judiciary of this country. And secondly is that a sentence was meted out in terms of Section 2761I of the Criminal Procedure Act, which also caused an outrage from different points. And let's leave that part to what the state is appealing against in November this year. The point that we want to raise is that that perception continues while the person is in correctional services. First of all, the legislation is very clear in terms of someone who is serving a sentence in terms of Section 2761I of the Criminal Procedure Act, that is serving 1/6 of the sentence and then gets considered for placement under community corrections or under correctional supervision. And that has taken place. And then secondly, you remember I mentioned earlier on that in a given year, we have roughly about 25,000 people that get placed either on parole or correctional supervision. On a daily basis, we have about 60 or even more of offenders that are placed on a daily basis. But because of the focus on a particular offender, then the whole thing gets distorted and then we get interpreted as being responsible for unfair or favorable treatment to some, not the rest. It's important to note that there was a decision that was made, even the one before the one of Oscar Pistorius, in terms of the parole review board. It made a decision considering one other offender whose decision to place him under correctional supervision was reversed before this one. But unfortunately, it is not a popular one like this one, so it missed the public domain.
All right, hold it there.
The department ensures that we implement our policies as fairly and as appropriately as possible without fear or favor.
Okay. Josette, you're calling us from KZN.
Hello, how are you?
We're well. Thanks for the call.
Okay, I'm just calling about the fact that there's so many people that were supposed to be paroled, and yet Oscar was given preference. I'm just thinking that from the beginning of this thing, Oscar's been given special treatment, and as a female in our country, really, this is totally out of line, and absolutely to her parents as well. To serve 1 year, 10 months in jail for taking the life of another person is really out of order. So I feel that Department of Corrections has really done us a disservice as females in our country, honestly speaking.
But Josette, you're aware that that's what the rules and the law of the country says. Eh?
Yes,
it's not like this is something that was
meant. The law apply, but what about Reeva and her family? What about the life of a human being that was taken? And what about the family that is stuck with the fact that their family member has been murdered? My sister was murdered in 2007, and her murders got life sentences, and I would die tomorrow if they had to come out of prison. So I honestly don't know how Reeva's parents are feeling right now, that Oscar's enjoying breakfast and steaks and whatever, and Reeva is dead. Does the country not understand that Reeva is dead?
Okay.
So I'm not worried about the laws or whatever. Oscar needed to stay in jail longer. That's my opinion.
Okay. Annelies, I don't think you have a very easy job. Eh?
You know, I think it's important. Remember, I mentioned at the beginning that people don't make a differentiation between these things. One is that Correctional Services' responsibility is to execute the decisions of our judiciary. And therefore, the judiciary, in this instance, sentenced an offender in terms of Section 2761I of the Criminal Procedure Act. Correctional Services' responsibility is to ensure effective implementation of that decision in line with the law. And that's what we've done. In respect of what the lady is raising, is a matter with the state, which the state is appealing against. So, but let's leave that part to the process that will evolve from the 3rd or the 6th of November going forward, because it's outside of our jurisdiction as Correctional Services.
Okay. Craig, does the foundation have an interest in this upcoming matter?
With the appeal?
Yes.
No, we don't. We don't have an interest in the sense that, you know, the purpose of the foundation is to assist abused women and children, and you know, if Oscar's conviction stays as where it is, or if he's found guilty of culpable homicide, the foundation won't be celebrating either way. The foundation is established for a purpose, and they will continue with that purpose irrespective of whether Oscar is in jail or whether he is in his uncle's home, or you know, if he gets a longer sentence. So that's the position of the foundation at the moment.
Okay, Tapelo, you are in the Northern Cape. Welcome.
Good day. How are you?
We're well. Thanks for the call.
All right, Danny. It's Tapelo from Kimberley. I just wanted to check with some other people making comments about Oscar being treated. Having given a special treatment on this issue. People must understand that I think Oscar was convicted for capable homicide, not murder, and he served his time, and he did qualify for parole, and he got a parole. So everything people must know that it's not like the time he applied for parole, it was the right time, and he got a parole of which he served the time that he was supposed to serve, based on the 5 years that he got for a capable homicide. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, thanks very much, Tapel. You know, that's a matter which I just want to raise here. There was an official from the department who testified during the trial that, you know, the conditions in your facilities are not up to scratch. What has happened to that officer?
Nothing happened to the officer. What is important, alongside the matter you're raising, is that our National Commissioner, Mr. Z. Modise, went to court and gave a report that Correctional Services is ready and capable of dealing with a variety of categories of offenders, including those that have disabilities. And that's one of the reasons why we are accommodating those ones, not under normal circumstances in our facilities, because they are a small fraction. We are accommodating them under our hospital wing of a correctional facility. Because in that center, for example, there are other people that have got serious disabilities. The other one is an old man who is blind, completely blind. Other people have different types of disabilities, but they are all accommodated in that special section, which has got a hospital within the Kgosi Mampuru Correctional Center.
Okay. Elliot, you're calling us from Limpopo. Welcome.
Yes, thank you very much. It's Bhutani Elliot from Limpopo.
Oh, yes.
Yes, but I just want to indicate that people must not politicize Oscar Pistorius' case. Judge Masipa applied the rules of South Africa. She did not apply the rules of UK or USA. He applied the rules of South Africa, and Oscar, like any other prisoner, he is entitled to his parole. And I think the man there, on your panel, for the Department of from Correctional Services, he's correct. They are only executing what the law wants them to execute. So people must not be political about Oscar Pistorius. He must be treated equally like any other offender. That's my sentiment, Paul.
Okay, thanks very much, Elliot. Perhaps let's just take a look at some of the tweets that are coming through. Mbereza, FJ, says South Africa justice system favors those who have money and fame. I don't have confidence in our justice system. Money speak for itself. That's Mbereza there. And Saya says offenders released under correctional supervision are subjected to community service. Where will he be doing his? Manelis Wolela, let's take that question, please.
Yes. Thank you so much. We appreciate people that are understanding that our responsibility is to implement the legislation of this country. Because remember, first and foremost in the way we run this country is the respect of the rule of law. Because if we act outside of that, then we are going to have chaos and a banana republic. So it's very important for people to familiarize themselves with the legislative framework, with the prescripts of the law and how we're implementing them so that they can be able to do a better oversight and a critique of the work we're doing. Number two is that I think it's very important for people to understand that we're not talking about parole in this instance. There are two key categories of offenders. Those that we regard as probationers and also those that are parolees.
Okay.
You'll find that those that are probationers, some of them, about 2,500 in South Africa in a given year, are sentenced in terms of Section 2761I. So at a time, we've got 2,500 offenders that are similar to Oscar Pistorius that are going to serve 1/6 of their sentence in our facilities. But unfortunately, perhaps the rest of them are not even regarded as as famous or whatever by the media and by various other sectors in society. As a result, they are ignored. But if they were part of this dialogue, there will be better understanding amongst the citizens of this country and a better judgment of how we're performing.
All right. Temba, you are in KZN. Welcome.
Hello, Paul. How are you, man?
I'm well. Thanks for the call.
Man, it's hot in Natalia. I don't know how it is in the Transvaal.
Oh,
Look, man, my concern is that gentleman that comes from the foundation.
Yeah.
He doesn't look serious about the whole thing. We don't pick up the pain that Reeva Steenkamp died. He seems to say, that Makli Sakni. When you ask him question, are you going to meet this man? He says, oh, not today, but we don't know in future. Are you having the right person to represent the Steenkamp family in your program? This man is not committed. He doesn't have pain. He doesn't have concerns. I don't know where you got him from.
How was he supposed to look, Babtemba?
Pardon?
How was he supposed to look?
No, man, he's supposed to be concerned. You want to see the pain. We lost a lady here. He seems to say, well, we won't oppose anything. What do you say? Are you going to meet this family? He says, oh, not today. He's not committed. He's not committed. This is an emotional case in South Africa. Yes. We want people that are going to show pain and seriousness of the loss of life.
Thank you very much. Craig, perhaps let me just come to you.
Yes.
Have the family gone past the anger phase?
I'm here representing the foundation. I'm not representing the Steenkamp family.
Okay.
I'm not here to speak on behalf of June and Barry Steenkamp. I'm here to speak on behalf of the foundation. To want retribution is not going to solve any problems. It's not going to take us anywhere. The attitude of the family is only to move on. They've lost their daughter, and whether Oscar is in jail or at his uncle's residence is not going to bring Reeva back. Okay. To have that anger and to continue with the anger they're not going to be able to move on. So from the foundation's side, we want to promote and assist abused women and children, and that's what the foundation's been established for.
Do I get an idea that this may be the last interview that you're granting us if we're talking about Oscar Pistorius?
No, I wouldn't say it would be the last interview. You know, it's. I think for the foundation, we need to establish and put it out there for, you know, the foundation is dependent on donations to promote the work. So
Craig, let me cut you short there. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. And thank you very much, Manil Suwalela, as well. That was question time for today. A big thank you to my guests and to you for watching the show. Have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.
SABC News. We report, contextualize and present news and current affairs honestly, fairly and fully. We consider it a duty to provide consistent, relevant, useful and top quality information and analysis. Our mission is to provide credible, accurate and interesting news programming, bringing news into everyone's homes in everyone's languages. Thank you, South Africa, for relying on SABC News for quality news output and for making us your #1 source of information. SABC News, Africa's news leader.
Preparing for victory requires intense effort and teamwork. When you get to it, there is no turning back, because all eyes are on you. When it's action time, nothing should stand in your way. Sports Live tackles and analyzes all the sport action. This is the home of all your sport news, updates and more. Sports Live weekdays at 8:30 p.m.
Welcome to Network, a technology news program that also discusses what's trending in social media in and around Africa. MTN has launched its new movie and television streaming service, Front Row. If it's trending, we will find it. That's Network with me, Spumela Lezondi, every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. only on the SABC News channel.
Morning Live sets the agenda for the day.
We bring you the latest local and international news.
We are on the ball with all your sports activities and results.
We give you the latest business update.
We bring you the latest weather every time.
Watch Morning Live every weekday morning at 6 o'clock, bringing you everything you need to know before you go. Sharp, sharp, 8 tada.
This is Rights and Recourse.
This act says we are all the same, we are all equal before the law.
I have a fundamental problem with her saying that traditional leaders are recognized as the de facto owners of the land. That isn't in the Constitution, nor is it in any law.
Unpacking your legal rights and cost of action.
The Constitution starts from the point that we are one country and that we need to have a system that actually consolidates that, but also recognizes the different compositions of different communities.
With respect to Aninka, I know she is happy that her queen in England. She's the owner of the whole land. She's not having any politics.
Chief Mukwena, we will get to some of the other issues.
You must withdraw that Aninka's Queen of England. Please, that's completely unacceptable.
That's Rights and Recourse, Sundays at 2 p.m. on the SABC News channel.